again, coming back to Starbucks here, we had a cycle breakdown confirmation here that came in April, and then that was a signal to be cautious. Really, that first warning came when we had the peak form here on the left-hand side. Doesn't mean it's a left-hand translation yet, but you're paying attention that as things get more aggressive, reversal scout rolls over. This next rally that struggled, okay, and then you had the reversal scout roll over again. That's a strong warning to be cautious in Starbucks. And if I did a draw here, you can see that we already started to have these important warning symptoms of breakdowns. So what's the first symptom? Would be this. I've talked about that before, a close below that 61.8, either on a daily or weekly basis. So these are the bears putting their claws in the ground and staking a claim on their bias. And we have to pay attention to that. Plus you have reverse scout negative. Again, so what I'm doing is building this some of the evidence. This weakens the overall pattern structure. This already is telling me momentum's negative. Then we had a multiple weeks violations of 78.6. Excuse me. That is, again, these are symptoms of negative conditions, rallies that can't get very far. And then we roll over. That's a major warning sign. And what did I talk about before in terms of when you're dealing with a downtrend and you want to do an extrapolation of and what tool to use? This is when you can use your fib extension. We have a swing high. We need 3 points: swing high, swing low, swing high. Then I want my momentum confirmation. Momentum confirmation, reversal scout goes negative. Boom. Now, I don't know that this is coming, but what I do know is that we're in the midst of a more negative overall condition. And the surprises, which you will find more often than not, again, what are the higher odds? The higher odds are the surprises will be in the direction of the trend, not against it. Okay, so I'm talking about, the larger surprises. And we saw this major move lower here. All right, so now what I want to be looking at, though, is some additional draws. It's interesting how the 161.8, caught that low exactly. And, you can't make this stuff up. And that's why you have to be very aware of those key levels. I'm just going to get rid of this other drawing here. That was that 161.8, okay. So that energy was dissipated when we had the small little rally. But I'm going to be looking at this move here. Okay, there. Okay, now and then I'm also going to do a hypothetical of Starbucks. What happened if it continued to rally and it got up to, maybe somewhere close to the 50% area, which could be a stretch, but let's just put it here where the other cycle low was, even though that's where it got it to before and it failed. So that would tell me that another retest or somewhere around 68.43. So conservatively, and again, I'm going to look at the daily chart, but on the intermediate time frame, unless we get above, 89, and let me just do another draw. I'm going to do a draw from here where my reevaluation levels would be. So if we close, my first reevaluation warning is 88.30. If we close above there, then my bearish thesis is likely going to be negated, and I have to really look at this and say that a more important potential multi-month low has, or even, something like a multi-year low has gone into effect in Starbucks. But that, that would be with a close above that 61.8 and then a breakout above the 78.6. If I don't have that, then I stay with my bearish thesis. My bearish thesis right now would suggest retest of this prior low, and then my target zone is 68.43 to 67.02. If the reversal scout goes negative, that's going to say the odds favor that next move lower is underway. And then on the daily chart, we have a good amount of time still for Starbucks to form its next low. And in theory, this low should at least retest the prior low because it came into this cycle with a negative cycle structure. Okay, so my downside reevaluation area right now, if I see a close above this 81.75, then the short-term trade idea would be negated. So I would have to rewatch for something to set up for myself in the short term. I have my concept here over in the intermediate time frame. And in the intermediate time frame, and I'll talk about, are there signals that would suggest the trade is a go here in just a second. So short term, what am I going to be looking for here? So short term, what I'm looking for here is I'm going to take this minor swing high, right? So here's your minor cycle. And we have the swing high here. And I'm going to go down to the swing low and then to the swing high. And what I'm looking for is a retest. So my conservative target is a retest of the low. And then the optimal target is going to be around 70 with a more aggressive downside potentially if it really got loose around 66. So that's what I'm looking for in the short term. And again, I'm not concerned if I'm wrong. What I'm concerned about is, am I going to be disciplined if the price gets to a level that suggests I need to reevaluate? So for the short-term reevaluation, a close above this 81.85, I have to reevaluate. Likely, if I had a position on, I would be taking some off or going flat and then reevaluating for a new opportunity in StarBucks. In terms of do we have a trade that signals it is a go? Well, here's what I want to say is that we're a little early, in the cycle phasing process here. I mean, typically, where the normal risks in terms of where the money flows are come when you go into a peaking phase and then obviously declining phase. So the earlier you are in the cycle, the higher the probability of positive money flows still coming in. If I just take a look at here how long this lasted, about 45 days before that downtrend started. Let's see how many days out we are now. So this was 25. So, it's 47 right now. So this would be very early. So if this did get negative again, wow, that would be extremely negative. However, there was a signal that happened, right? A reversal scout went negative and the slim ribbon. There's just risk. So whether or not it would be a smaller position size, because, so what would be affecting my position sizing right now? Because again, we're never going all in on the position right away. I'm scaling in based on analysis. And that would be that because we are still early, I don't want to have a larger position size relative to what my typical max position size would be, because we are earlier in the advance, as well as the fact that the reversal scout is positive. So that would hold me back from having a larger position size right now. However, there was that signal that suggested that, hey, we could be in the midst of another move lower here in StarBucks. I have my reevaluation for the short term. I have my targets on the downside. Now I'm going to zero in here. So negative 2 hour reversal scout 15-minute turned up. So I'd like to see that roll back over. If it did, that would, all signs are that the negative, the next leg lower in that daily cycle could be happening. And again, I know what my levels are on the upside where I have to reevaluate. I'm not concerned about being wrong. You are likely to be wrong. And then the percentages of being wrong could be, 30, even 40% of the time you're going to be wrong, could even be 45%. The bottom line is can you be profitable? And that happens because, it's an old adage, but if your winners need to just be larger than your losers, and then that percentage needs to work out. So the math has to work out. But being afraid of being wrong is something we have to get over as traders, because it is going to happen, and we just have to become good losers. And the better you can become as a loser, it's a strange kind of reality. The greater the likelihood of being successful, the more you make peace with being a loser, which is weird to say, but it is true. All right, so that's what we have with going on with StarBucks here. I'm going to do one more draw just to give me an idea of from a short-term, even near-term basis, what are my key levels? So if I was a near-term trader today, today we got into the sweet spot, right? We got into that 78.6 to 100%, and it's not surprising that we got a little bounce. So, that near-term trade in a way was over, right? So this near-term opportunity was satisfied today, but that doesn't mean that on the short term, a bigger picture, there's more opportunity here. And I did that draw. So I did a near-term draw, and then I already did this draw here. Right. So this is the more the expectation when it comes to where could the cycle low form. It would be down into this zone, this 72 to 69.70. Again, if I get a close back above that 81.85 area, then I reevaluate that short-term trade, and that bias needs to be reevaluated, and you go from there. All right, there's StarBucks. There's a question about the reversal scout. The reversal scout is a price/trend momentum indicator that we have customized, and it is designed to help. It does a number of things, but one is it as you can tell, it's very good at giving you a sense of price and price trend. So we combine it with the slim ribbon, which is less sensitive. So you can see up here, reversal scout turned earlier, several days before the slim ribbon, and it was really good at basically keeping you on the right side along with the slim ribbon for a long time. And that's the goal, is that you stay on the right side for a longer ride. So that's what the reversal scout is. It is a price/momentum trend indicator. It's a custom indicator. We've labeled it, named it the reversal scout, because it also helps with getting a sense around when there's reversals that we should be paying attention to. Swing lows, swing highs. So right now, this was a swing high that has likely formed, between here and here. So that's why, when I do my draw and it's above that 61.8, it makes sense to me. It's right along where that reversal scout turned back negative. So it helps with getting a sense of where those key swings are as well. There's a question about, if you're a more novice trader, what level is best to start in with askSlim? It's a very interesting question, because sometimes you relate like the cost of something with your proficiency level. However, it's not really always the case, and askSlim is not necessarily designed where you go from level 1 to level 4 based on your experience level. And the reason I say that is because essentially how we've designed this is based on coverage and access. So yes, as you go higher in membership level, you're going to get more coverage and you're going to get more access, which if you're a novice could be more overwhelming. But if you take it step by step, as I've been trying to do in my trade planning process, really you shouldn't get overwhelmed, because you just take it piece by piece. And what I mean is, if you can simplify it to, okay, if what I'm looking at is going to help me identify an outlook period. If you go to the daily snapshot, I break things down into short-term outlook, intermediate outlook, long-term outlook. If you go to the Slimulator ranking, or the Slimulator momentum tracker, that's based on a active investor period of 3 months out, right? The ranking system, 3 to 6 weeks. So if you just take it and compartmentalize it based on the trade planning process, just because you start off at level 3, or if you had access to Thinkorswim at level 4 and you're a novice, really what's going to happen is that the acceleration of your knowledge should happen much faster, because you just have more access to information. If you can put it to use, that's fantastic. Meaning you have some time to you need to think of this like a course. I don't know if how many of you ever gone on like Coursera? Have you ever heard of that? Anyone heard of Coursera? You know, for professional development? No one. Well, anyways, you can take courses, right? And they can be interesting and they can be fun, and they're put out by universities all over the world, actually. So I've taken courses there on neuroeconomics and on neuromarketing and some really just whatever I think is interesting. And they'll tell you a time frame that you need to invest in the course. And sometimes they're only, like 9 hours. Or sometimes they'll say 1 to 3 months, or sometimes it'll say 6 to 9 months. And it's a legitimate commitment of time. And we have a lot of people that write to us and say, Matt, I just want you to give me a 5-minute video on how to understand askSlim, and I want to be able to have a 90% win rate. And I think to myself, what course, high level course? I mean, this is becoming a professional analyst takes about 10,000 hours. And then becoming a professional trader is, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of hours, and when I mean professional trader, that means that you've developed a methodology that then you can convert the technical evidence into a tradable edge for yourself. And then over a period of time, you feel that you can determine that you have a likelihood for profitability and that you have enough time that would suggest that that's the case for yourself. So a professional trader doesn't mean you have to make $50,000 a month and that's all that you do. A professional trader, in my opinion, is someone that can count on their methodology to provide them with an edge. And if you can do that, then congratulations, you've reached, I think, a level of important proficiency. The proficiency acceleration, if you become a level 3 or 4 member, should be much higher. And you're going to need to commit a good couple of months, 2-3 months, to really get acclimated, dive into the process here and frame it around trade planning. If you can do that, it should accelerate your knowledge growth. If you start at level 1, you get access to information that is around the indexes, and that's good information, right? And then you go to level 2 and you're going to get the charts hub, which all of a sudden you'll get to see more coverage, and you'll get to hear our view through future speak and stock sectors, and some of these events like this. But then you go to level 3 and 4 and you start getting access to like the MCM, where you can start looking at things in more real time. And then level 4, you get to have the charts. And really, there's no way that I could, as a trader, not have charts, live charts for myself, right? So obviously, if you're level 4 and you do have TOS, then you get to have our live charts, and you can manipulate and customize them just like I'm doing right now in front of you live in the same way.